There has always been a large debate observed when it comes to EDs as far as care options. A lot of people feel if you just force an individual into care that they'll be forced to recover, they'll gain the weight back. A lot of the time people feel that that can cause more harm than good. Yes, she might regain the weight, but she could be horrifically traumatized by that decision. This isn't the first time this debate has come to light. This is just a larger discussion about it because it's a more well-known person and it's on a platform where a lot of young individuals are able to see it, and a lot more young voices are throwing in their opinions in the conversation now as Eugenia Cooney's struggles come to light. With that debate comes people who think that they can solve it by taking action as far as forcing her into care. So some people are calling into the police station. There was one incident where someone even went as far to say that she was in cardiac arrest at the time. They're trying to take her care into their own hands because they feel as though no one is doing anything. And I understand that to a point. It's incredibly frustrating to see someone that sick decline and know that there's nothing that you can do. So what are the options for Eugenia Cooney at this point? So there are a lot of people out there right now who are definitely concerned for Eugenia's well-being, and I think a lot of people are trying to find things that they can do to help her or to force her into care. One of those options being to call the police. I talked to the police out where Eugenia lives. I'm not going to say the name of the town. If there are people who don't know where she lives, I'm not going to be the one to tell you. But I did call out there, and I ended up talking with the head of the Special Victims Unit to know if they had put a statement out about Eugenia. And basically, the first time I called, I spoke to a deputy, and he said, "Oh, I know who you're talking about," because I asked him, has there been a statement released by the police department? And he said, "I know who you're talking about. We've been working with the family for years. Let me put you in contact with someone who knows a lot more about that. It's the head of the Special Victims Unit." And so I left a message on his voicemail. I wasn't really certain if I would hear back or anything. I didn't want to give him the impression that I was trying to call and make anything happen or trying to report her in any way. That wasn't the motivation for that call. I wanted to know if there was a statement out there, how the police felt about this, if they were not aware. I'm sure they were aware that she recorded them and posted it, but I wondered if that was their idea, if it was intentional. I just had questions. So I actually did receive a call back today. I'm not going to release this person's name, although I did not record our conversation and I didn't explicitly say that it was on the record. I told him that I do YouTube and I had a couple questions. What he chose to say, I'm sure he chose specifically and with purpose. So he called me this morning and he said, yes, we've been working with Eugenia's family for years. They are not allowed to release a statement about private individuals from the police department. But he was aware that Eugenia had recorded something and put it on her Instagram while she was there in the office with the police. It was the intention of that recording to show people, look, I'm here with this police, or I'm here with these police deputies. They are aware of me. Obviously, they're not tackling me and putting me into care. Would you please stop calling? I wonder why she didn't say that explicitly. I know that she's kind of nudged a little bit in her Twitch streams. I wish people wouldn't call. I wish people would stop calling. So, from me to you, I'm just going to say, please stop calling the police. They get calls every single day, multiple calls a day. They are aware of her situation. They're keeping an eye on it. They're working with the family, but there's not going to be a situation where your phone call makes them go to her house and force her into care. That's not going to happen. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that process looks like out there, but calling the police is not going to make that happen. So another resource that they have out there is called their Mobile Crisis Unit. Basically, if there's a situation with a person who is a danger to themselves or others, their family, and I emphasize that, their family or someone who knows them closely can call, have this unit mobilized, go to their home, they evaluate the individual, and they take them into care. This is not an option for the public to do to Eugenia Cooney. This is something, they are also aware of her situation, and they work closely with the police. Nothing like that is going to go through if you call them directly and try to get them over to her house. They are aware of the situation. They've talked with the family. They're not going to move forward with anything right now. Does that mean that if you're watching a live stream and she passes out, she's incoherent, she's non-responsive? I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to do something in that instance. Someone should raise the alarm. But just know, there have been so many calls like that already that did not amount to anything. I don't know that they would take you seriously at this point. So keep that in mind. The more calls that people are making to the mobile crisis unit, to the police, these are not going to persuade them to act immediately, I don't think, because they are receiving these calls every day. This is something that's been continually happening. They're aware of it. So other options that people are throwing around out there, especially with Britney Spears being in the news right now, is a guardianship or a conservatorship for Eugenia Cooney. I called the clerk of court over probate, and I spoke with them directly. Eugenia Cooney is not currently in a conservatorship or a guardianship situation. She never has been. They checked their records. Those are public record. She has never been in either of those situations, and that's not necessarily something that the public could do. If her family deemed her incapable, or if her family chose to try to petition the Superior Court to have that in place, that could possibly amount to something someday. But as of right now, like I said before, her family is very aware of the situation, and that's not something they've decided to do. It would seem to me at this point that her family has gone to great lengths to facilitate what she's doing, and I think that speaks for itself. I don't think that the public has any place calling these entities and trying to force help at this point. She is an adult, and I think that she has decided for herself, because she still has that power. She does not have a guardian. She does not have a conservatorship, and she's over 18. She has gone to a lot of work to ensure that she can continue doing this, and I don't think that that is something that we can change anytime soon, nor do I think it's our place. Also, as I was talking to the head of the Special Victims Unit, he told me that there's someone who's been threatening her or harassing her. And I remembered the other day that she said, you know, she couldn't tell us all of the ins and outs of that situation at that time. She wasn't willing to talk about it. But guys, you can't be going out here and threatening her. I have a lot of issues with her behavior. I reserve the right to parody her behavior, to talk about her behavior and her choices, and criticize. But there's a big difference between talking about someone and then going directly to someone to threaten them or to harass them, to make her feel afraid. That's not alright. Do I agree that she needs to be removed from the internet? Yes. I think that it's incredibly dangerous to set the precedent that someone can do this online, but I would never harass her or threaten her. I don't think that's okay. That's not helping her. You will not be able to force her into care by threatening her. You can't force her to do anything at this point. I advocate to have her removed from YouTube, and I would go through the correct channels to make that happen. Talk to YouTube. You know, on her YouTube videos that she's posting, if you see that there's a clear violation to terms and conditions, you can report that. That's what you can do. You can't threaten people. You can't force her to be afraid so that she goes into care. I don't think that's helping anyone, and I don't think it's appropriate, and it broke my heart that that was brought to my attention. I really hope that you guys who watch my videos aren't the ones that are doing that. I disagree with a lot of her, but I'll be the first to stand up and say, please don't bully her that way, please don't threaten her, please don't harass her. We can't do that, and it makes the message, if you do try to advocate to have her removed, it muddies that. I don't want to be someone who advocates for that, so I'll be very clear. Please do not call the police. Please do not try to force her into care. Please do not force her into conservatorship. Don't try to contact her family. They know about this. The police know about this. The crisis unit knows about this. They always have for years. It's not something the public is going to be able to change anytime soon. What you can do is advocate to have her removed from any platform that you think that she's misusing. On the flip side, you can also advocate to have her stay if you think it's a dangerous precedent for people to be able to be deplatformed for an illness. I can see the side of that argument, and I can understand why people would feel passionate about that. But there's this barrier that you have to be aware of at some point. You know, if you push too far, you're slandering, and if you push further than that, you're harassing. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to make videos about it. It's okay to express an opinion in a comment, but once you push past that barrier and you're harassing someone, that's where it gets dangerous. I think that's about all I've got to talk about for today, guys. I just wanted to keep you up to date with the phone calls I've made, with the people I've talked to, and of course, if there's anything noteworthy that comes up in the following weeks or in the next few days, of course I would keep you guys up to date. But this isn't something I want to harp on for much longer. I'd like to branch out and explore other venues. There's a lot of other people I'd like to dig into and research. So I hope you guys are along with me for the ride. I will keep you apprised of any news that I hear about Eugenia along the way. But get ready for a couple changes. It isn't always going to be doom and gloom. I really like comedy. I like making people laugh. But I also like this side of it, talking about serious issues. So it might be an eclectic channel, but there's going to be some changes coming soon. And as always, thank you guys who have supported me. You guys are incredible. A lot of you have reached out to me individually. We'll do a video talking about that pretty soon too. I appreciate all the love and support that I've received. Of course, on my Patreon, you're amazing. I just thank you guys so much. So as always, go out there, do something that matters. With your time, with your effort, with your energy, live your very best lives, and do something with the time that you've got left. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.